mentioned even a lot of black leaders used to speak out about that. And I don't usually do shout outs. And here's my second one. So Denise Long sent me this book by Beck.
Roy Beck, yep.
You
should have him on the show.
Yeah, I should. I should reach out to him. I'm halfway through it when I finish. She even read it, pre-read it, and told me you need to check these parts out. And, because she is a black anti-racist, right? She's a DEI person, and she's trained in all that. Yet she is saying, Charles, you have to read this book about what immigration did to black wealth, right? Yep. So this is not, like you said, it was not left, right. It's becoming that. That's why I was saying earlier, Shemeka, that nobody in the black community is going around talking about what we really need is more people from Guatemala. That will make the country great, right? They're just like you say, they're not paying attention to it. But I don't think this is a hot button if you get people to read and listen and learn. So I don't know how we got here either. It's interesting to hear you talk about that. But I want to see if you want to add anything to Shemeka before we can get into what the specific issues are, policy issues that are causing the problems and how we fix them. We got to at least talk about some solutions. But Shemeka, anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I'm interested in taking a look at that book.
Yeah,
it's Back of the Hiring Line.
You probably could see it, Back of the Hiring Line. Yep. Right. And we should have Roy on.
And his basic point is that immigrant labor made black labor less desirable. In other words, if employers didn't want to hire blacks for any number of reasons, bad reasons or good reasons, they didn't want to hire them, they could get away with not hiring them because there was a constant flow of immigrant labor. And when that
they used to have to, whether they didn't want them or not, they had to hire them because we needed people, and they were the people that were there.
Because, like Booker T. Washington said in his 1895 Atlanta Exposition speech, calling on industrialists to cast down your bucket where you are and hire black Americans. Well, they weren't going to do that. This was 1895. But they would do it if they didn't have any choice. And when World War I cut off the flow, guess what? All kinds of people started, industrialists started sending recruiters throughout the South. And they were recruiting white Southerners, too, because, frankly, they weren't all that doing particularly well either. But they were recruiting everybody because they wanted warm bodies. And immigration just makes it easy to ignore hiring, to avoid hiring people you don't want to hire for whatever reason.
And this is important to me because I'll send it to you when I'm finishing. I'll pick it up. But it's also whatever the reasons why they did it, because the reasons why they did it might not have been for that. But the businessman will say, well, now I don't necessarily have to hire the black, whatever. But maybe the black was doing a good job and we're like, we'll keep the blacks anyway. But then human nature kicked in. So then the immigrants created their own little group and they were like, well, we're going to fight the blacks off the job site, right? So they were physically attacking them, right? Saying or creating, de facto unions and then eventually unions that they control, right? That's why you have unions that were mostly Polish controlled or the Germans or whatever. So you had these groups and they would lock people out of jobs, right? So even though they came there for work, right? They didn't come there to hate on the black people, but they got the opportunity. And if it's us, us or them, we're going to pick us. So even within the country, they were creating their own groups and they were protecting their groups.
And I remember a few years ago, there was this Latino activist in North Carolina who was complaining because there had been a raid on a factory or something.
Chicken factory.
Right. And she was, I don't know if this may have been a chicken. I don't know if it was a chicken factory, this particular instance. But what she actually said this to a reporter. She said, hey, you used to say, why are you rounding us up and throwing us out? You used to like us. You'd say, hey, you liked us better than the blacks. I mean, literally, that's what she said. It was basically, she said the quiet part out loud.
Right. Wow. So, through the policies, where are they getting it wrong?
Everywhere. Where do we start? We have